Rocks. This is show number 636. And today we are having a return guest, Mr. Mark Kahn. He's a lender out of actually Las Vegas and Louisiana. And he's going to be talking to us about the jumbo loan limits and the programs today. But before we get to Mark, actually, as everyone knows today, everybody in the U.S. that's watching right now, today marks the 20th anniversary of September 11th here, a day that we're all going to remember probably for the rest of our lives. I actually remember exactly where I was and how I heard the news that morning. On that infamous morning. So in honor of that day and remembering all the victims that and families that suffered through that period of time and the heroes, I mean, the tremendous heroes that emerged out of that tragedy to save so many lives that day. We'd like to just spend just a minute of silence just to remember that moment in history here in our country. So if you are watching, put your phone down here, and we're just going to put a timer on and just observe a moment of silence for 1 minute. All right.
Thank you.
Yeah, never thought didn't think I was going to get so emotional about it, thinking about that. And I just recalled that day. It was just so incredible. I mean, incredible the emotion coming out of that time period. But so, bless the families that have lost and then still kind of feeling the effects of it, personally. I can only imagine the emotion I'm feeling right now, being 3,000 people, miles away from New York, but all the families and the firefighters and the first responders that day. So thank you to all those people. Ruth,
yes,
what is happening in the real estate market right now?
Well, I am going to hide you for a second so people can see. There we go. Well, what's happening is we have about the same market that we had last year in September. Last year, we were selling about 116 homes per day. This September, our average so far is 118. Now, it might get, that number might increase toward the end of the month, of course, but it's still going to be right in the range of last year. People were wondering, if we're trending, how we're trending, if the market's slowing down. And actually, the last 2 weeks of August and the first 2 weeks of September, it usually does cool down a little bit with the temperatures, right? We have about 25 days of inventory. And we listed 55 homes yesterday, but we put 47 under contract, and we closed 141. And so that's how we get the 25 days. We divide the number of days into the number of available homes, and that gives us 25. And yesterday, we listed only 12 homes under 400,000. And that is our median price of 407,000, which I was saying to Max earlier. I think that perhaps some of the iBuyer platforms that are offering over list, all cash, no contingencies, are driving that median price up, which doesn't make me happy because we price our own locals out of the market. So that's not, to me, a good thing. The $1 million plus homes, oh my gosh, they're selling 3 times as fast per day as they did last year. Someone in our office put a $1.35 million home on the market on Tuesday. Within 15 minutes, they had 4 people that wanted to see it. And as of today on Saturday, they have 3 or 4 potential offers, and then 3 or 4 more coming on board. So Max, whoops, where'd you go? There you are.
There I am.
Okay. And so the market is, bumping along. It's good. It's good. It's just that I don't like the median price going up. Hopefully it will come back down again. And hopefully we will list more homes than we're listing right now, under 400,000. So
Right.
that's the market today.
And so it looks like inventory has just stayed relatively stable right now. I mean, 25 days, it's been fluctuating from 27 back down to 21, now 25, and still very, very short. I mean, 25 days of inventory.
Yeah.
Do you have any stats on the builders? I mean, one of the things maybe we think about on a future show here is just talk about how are the builders doing right now as far as like inventory and rate of new permits and things of that nature to catch up and maybe provide more inventory.
Well, last year we averaged 800 new home sales a month. This year we're averaging between 1,000 and 1,200.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. So it's increased by 25%.
Wow. So they're probably still struggling, especially with all the materials and construction kind of delays that are happening right now to consistently build. So there you have it. I mean, this market's probably going to continue to be hot here, especially here in Las Vegas. I was just down at the Strip yesterday, visiting with a friend that came into town, and for all intents and purposes, I mean, it is booming right now. I mean, the casinos are, I was at the Cosmopolitan right next to the Bellagio, and I mean, it was pretty crowded. It was like normal times. I mean, other than obviously the mass indoors, but the crowds were there. So it's good news for Vegas.
Yeah, I want to take a minute. Now, we have a guest today who has a camera problem, but we're going to bring him on. We'll be able to hear him. But
guess what? I got it.
Good.
Well, Mark, whatever you got, we still see a pink screen on your.
Oh man, I thought I had it.
So, Mark, I just want, I looked up the stats, and we're just talking about how busy the Strip is. And of course, we have our first Raiders game on Monday. And I guess we're playing against, who are we playing against?
Playing against Baltimore on Monday night.
The Ravens, yeah. And, there's so much money bet on sports in Nevada. And I pulled up a stat that said monthly betting handle routinely tops $500 million. I mean, that's incredible.
Well, that's the legal handle too. You have
monthly.
To realize there's a lot of people who still call on the phone and bet, and that's why the nationwide legalization is gonna, have some numbers that people will not even believe, because there's always been a ton of betting going on, and that's kind of what drives these sports. But now, state by state by state, everybody's trying to get in the game and get some tax money, and it's going to be great. But that's a really big reason why LV is so busy this weekend. It's the first weekend of football. And so all the sports books now figured out they can sell the booths and make it a $600,000 package where you got to buy food and drink. And we used to be able just to hang out and sit there and get free drink tickets.
Right.
That's a thing of the past. But another great thing is there's a lot of contests right now. So that's something that I like to do. And there's 2 major ones. One's downtown at a hotel called the Circa, run by a really awesome gentleman named Derek Stevens. And that one, he seeds with his own money. And there's something called an overlay, which means if we have a $6 million prize and it's 1,000 an entry, and let's say 6,000 people don't enter, he still pays it. So that's a real popular one. There's almost a $2 million overlay right now downtown on that one. And then there's another one at the Hilton, which is now called the Westgate. And they started the contest. They were like the originator of it. And they have 2 as well. One of which I really like. It's a winner take all.
Now is this for the whole season or just ever for the week?
It's a season. So each of them have kind of quarterly prizes. The winner take all one does not. It's just you pick 5 games a week. You get a point for a win, a half a point for a tie, 0 for a loss.
Right.
What's interesting is they made amendments this year for the COVID. And if there's a forfeit, because the NFL is getting really strict on the vaccinations, you lose. And it used to be last year, a forfeit was kind of a no action, or they're going to reschedule the game.
Wow.
So that's a little variable. You know,
It's a little variable.
You've never seen vaccination status listed on an injury report until this year.
Wow. That is a variable. Oh, man.
So I pulled up the Raiders game, and of course it's sold out. And Gladys Knight is going to do the national anthem.
Yep.
So and she lives here, and so does her family. So I think that's really going to be cool. And you know, when you go to the hockey games, you know, when they sing the national anthem, everybody, when they get, you know, to the word night, everybody together says night. So we'll see what the fans do with the national anthem.
I'm curious. Yeah, I've never seen that on a football game.
Yeah,
but it'd be neat.
Yeah, it would be neat. But we'll see. We'll see. And then I just wanted to mention too, Mark, that the Win has teamed up with a company called Blue Wire Studios out of, I think it's out of Hollywood. And they're going to put a podcasting station right in the Win Sportsbook.
Caesars has one also.
Yeah, I didn't know that. That's cool, though.
Yeah, they're getting smart about that.
I'll give you another win tidbit. They've allocated $100 million to advertise their win bet, which we can't use here in Vegas. So we don't get the benefits of all this expansion of sports betting and the apps. Like Vegas was the first to the market, and they kind of keep us out of we can't play fantasy football out here for money. It's a little different now that I'm in, Louisiana as well. We're about a month away from being legal out there. It's still caught up in our legislative committee.
Yeah.
But we can do fantasy sports out there, which is a whole nother segment of gambling where instead of you betting on the teams, you actually pick a team of players. So you could have the Raiders quarterback, you could have the defense of Baltimore they're playing, and then let's say I play versus you, and whoever has more points wins.
Wow.
So that's another way to kind of increase that magic word called handle.
Yeah.
Because the sports books can't win every game. So the goal of being the bookmaker is to average out the bets on both sides ideally, and then they make their 10, 15% vig.
Yep.
And the more handle, the more profit.
Right.
Kind of like real estate. The more transactions, the more commissions.
Yeah, same thing.
Mm-hmm. But it's exciting, and then believe it or not, right around the corner, we got basketball and hockey starting up. It's really close. This is the best sports time of the year, the last, 3 months.
Yeah.
Yeah.
You got everything going on.
Everything. And the holiday season too, that cheer everybody up after their losses.
Yeah, and you also have to this year, we have fans back because last year there was no fans in NFL. So each stadium has different rules. We have rules here to let people in with the no masks. In New Orleans, we don't even have home games right now because of Hurricane Ida. Mm-hmm. They moved the game to Jacksonville.
Oh, really? Okay,
yeah.
To Florida.
Yeah, and that's very, very unfair to the team, because now the Saints technically are going to have double-digit road games.
Right.
So that affects, all the little odds that goes into it. Super Bowl betting is a huge part too, where you can bet a team now and get a lot more money back than, let's say, if you wait till they've won 8 games in a row.
Right.
The odds will decrease. Or conversely, if a team starts out slow, maybe has an injury or two, it's a very nice time to put some money on them at accelerated odds.
Yeah, I put on the board here. The sports betting, if you're going to bet on the Super Bowl. And there's some huge numbers, like 58,000 or 5,800%. What does that mean? What does that mean?
Okay, so let's say if you see plus 10,000, let's say if it says, that's 100 to 1. So if it's like plus 12500, it's 125 to 1. That's how it's listed. Plus 1, let's say if it's plus 500, that's 5 to 1. So that's the way you would convert it.
Right.
So I think the favorites right now are Kansas City and Tampa Bay, who was in it last year. Tampa Bay won on Thursday.
Yes.
And, I don't like betting favorites personally.
No,
I'm an underdog player.
You can't.
Yeah, that obviously if the team that should win every time would win, there would be no sports book.
Exactly.
Another type of bet that maybe people are unfamiliar with if they hear about it is called overs and unders. So for example, in the Raiders game, I think the Raiders game is 45. So you could bet that the final score, when you combined it, is going to be either over 45 points or under 45 points. So it's another way that to gain interest where someone might not think, I don't know who's going to win, but I think it's going to be a lot of defense. So you would bet an under. Or I think they're just going to throw the ball every time. You would probably take it over.
And they do over under for individual team scores too, right? I mean,
absolutely. Those are called team totals. Team totals aren't as popular. I like them. And then you also have first halves you can bet. You can bet first quarters. And then at halftime, a new line comes out. And then what's really kind of coming to the United States, which is huge in Europe, is live odds. And the live betting, you could bet play versus play versus play.
Wow.
You got to be real on the spot on that, because if you're a couple seconds late, the bet's gone.
Right.
Well, so yeah, they give you as many options as you want. Another thing that's huge in Vegas is parlay cards. Mm-hmm. You may see these like big strips of paper in the sports book and with like a Scantron from back in the day. And if the Raiders are number one on the card and you fill in the number one on the Scantron along with some other ones, and those you can get some big odds.
Yeah, you're just picking multiple teams or multiple options within that card to get.
Yep, and if you lose one, you're done.
Exactly.
But if you win them all, it multiplies per each team. My biggest on the card, I've hit a 7-teamer once. I try not to play too many, teams because you're throwing money away. But
what is that, like 350 to 1 or something like that?
I had a guy, we call him 10-teamer, and he had a 10-teamer. It was 8. What did he put? 800 to 1. He had 80 grand on it.
Wow.
Yeah, that was his claim to fame. At the old Stardust, he hit it.
That's crazy.
Yeah. So it's, and now here's another thing. When you have all these sports books being the same, it's not good for the bettor. We used to have all the different casinos on the strips. They each had their own sports book back in the day. Yeah. But all the Caesars, Caesars bought William Hill. Mm-hmm. So now all the Caesars are William Hill. Right. And wherever William Hill was before on the little one-offs, like a Sahara, that's also going to be the same line. So I prefer more sports books as possible.
Yeah,
absolutely.
As many as you can. So that's why when you're in another state, you can use all the apps. If you're in New Jersey, you can do 10 different sports books on your phone. But we don't have that yet here in Vegas. I don't have it in Louisiana either. But by next year in Louisiana for sure. Out here, I'm not sure because they don't want to put the sports books, into make them deserts in there.
Yeah, right.
And I think it's fun to bet cash. Personally, you control yourself a little better. It's a lot easier to bet on credit.
You still can do like William Hill, right? And
yes, but it's a different. It's a little different. So. I don't like to sound negative at all, but when you start winning on an app, they can control your bets. So if I'm trying to bet $1,000 and they see that my account just is crushing them, they might counter me and say, maximum bet 50 from you, which is not really fair. And it's just something that's a little black cloud of the industry. And
I didn't even know that. Interesting.
Real sports bettors are not too happy with William Hill, especially in what they like to do to a winning player. But we just try to take what you can get. You can't complain, right? There's somewhere else to go normally, right? If they don't want my money, another sports book would.
All right. Is there still in-game betting here for football?
Yeah, so that's what I call live odds.
Okay. Because I remember the Jeopardy contestant a couple of years ago. He was a young kid, like in his either late 20s or 30s, but his on top of being a Jeopardy champion, he was also a millionaire, over through sports betting actually. And his claim to fame was in-game betting.
Yeah, because I so for me, I love taking, let's say if a team was favored, you had to put 200 to win 100. And now all of a sudden they're down early and it's even money, or you're getting, 200 for your 100, it reverses.
Right.
That's how I like to bet. I'll never bet 700 to win 100, and that's a lot of the options out there.
Right.
No.
Yeah. No.
But the live stuff is great, but you have to be a very, very big gambling fan, sports fan. The casual bettor, hasn't really caught on to them yet.
Yeah, I mean, you got to be glued to the game too. That's
It's a commitment. It's an absolute commitment. You're think about like a day trading in the stock market. It's a very similar thing. If you run to another room and all of a sudden the stock dips and you weren't there for it, there's no stop losses in live betting.
Right.
So you got to watch. And then here's the other fun part. There's a delay. I don't know if you've ever watched a game while you're talking to a friend of yours, and all of a sudden you hear him yelling touchdown, and you're like, what do you mean? They haven't even started the play yet.
Right.
So in my building, I know my delay. I have a 12-second delay here because we all are on the same DirecTV box. When you're in the sports book, depending on the channels, you might see one channel faster than the next on the same game as well too. So I go to the shows. There's something called split screen technology coming out, and that's going to be absolutely live, where what's going on at that stadium. So it's going to give you a little extra time to bet on in between plays, which will increase the handle.
Wow.
That's fun. It's all fun.
Yeah, a lot of stuff with it. And then there's another thing called the spinning wheel. So the spinning wheel is when you try to make the bet, let's say on the phone.
Yeah.
And it goes to a big back room, and they have to decide whether they want to take it or not. And so a lot of times the wheel spins and they deny you, because it just takes too long for them. So they're getting all that straight.
Oh.
I'd say give it another couple years, and you'll see this live stuff really take off.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, all the bookies need to see where they can make the most squeeze.
You don't want to take a bet if another guy is faster than you.
Mm-hmm.
Maybe I'm at the game, and then I'm trying to bet at that sports book who's watching a delay. So that's the spinning wheel. You'll hear that term from guys who bet some serious money, and we don't like the spinning wheel.
Right.
We just want to see the word accepted. Kind of like you when you write an offer, right?
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Yeah.
Exactly right.
Mark, I was saying, to change subjects to lending and money for real estate, that we just listed a $1.35 million home on Tuesday. We probably have 4 offers right now. By Monday, we'll have probably 6 or 7 for the seller to pick one. And they're not all cash. Half of them are loans. And you were mentioning, I think earlier when I was talking to you, that there are some new jumbo loans.
Yes, I've had a lot of popularity. Fixed a 30-year fix versus an adjustable. Right now, I've seen there's a nice spread. My 30-year fix, I'm still below 3%, right at 3%, right around there for a 30-year. I'd say 2.75 to 3 1/8, is where someone would land. But there's a 10-year arm, which is, based on a 30-year amortization. Like 10 years is a long time, especially. Yeah. I think you could answer this. What's the average lifespan of a Vegas resident? I remember it used to be 4-something years.
10. It's 10 though. It's increased, but yeah.
Okay. So I could get a 10-1 arm. You could take up to $3 million, anywhere from 1.875 to 2.125%. Which, if we know what inflation's at, it's free money.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So the first 10 years, is it only interest only?
Nope.
Or is it
it's going to be a fully amortizing loan, but after the 10 years, there is an index and a margin. So you know what it could recast. It could recast at the same,
Right. Yeah. I mean, the people who got mortgages 10 years ago, their recast has gone down.
Yeah, there you go. Exactly. And we used to be on that wonderful word called the Libor. Now they have different indexes that they put you on. But the margin's always going to be fixed, and the index is the variable part. So if you do your research and you find an index that doesn't have a lot of volatility, it's not a bad. It works for a lot of people, because I say pay down your house more. Instead of just paying that small payment, pretend you got a 3% rate. Watch that loan just fall down. But there may be months where you don't have the money and you don't have to pay it.
Mm-hmm. Now,
and we can do that on delayed financing because a lot of the clients are coming in with cash, and then I can actually do a loan for them just like it was purchase money. Like we don't penalize them for the cash out up to 6 months after that purchase.
Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
And then all the stress is out of the game, because that's a big part of it. Everyone, they're closing with cash because they don't want to miss their 2-week window or however many days they put on the close of escrow.
Yeah.
And then they can get with a lender and actually, crack knuckles and work a nice program and get funded.
Now, I know you're talking about jumbos, right? Just real quick question. What about conventional loans under the jumbo limit?
Same. My 10-year arms, it actually, they're very similar right now. 1.75, I've seen as lowest getting the arms down to in the conforming area.
Right.
But I'm pushing 15 years in the conforming realm because also I can get people 1.875 fixed, cheaper than inflation.
Wow, that's amazing.
Wow.
Mm-hmm. And when you're doing a 15-year loan, you lose one of the grids from Fannie Mae, which is the FICO grid. So all you're really adding in pricing is if I'm giving somebody cash or not. So if I take somebody from a 30-year, let's say in the mid threes, and I can put them down under 2% on a 15-year, it's really raw pricing, which is nice. There's no, what's your credit score? What's my loan to value? Okay, I lose a half a point. There's none of that. When you're doing the 15-year. So, and we could actually go all the way down to an 8-year fixed.
Wow.
Okay.
Yeah. So 8 years to 30 years is what these lenders will lend at. But I'm doing one right now for a good friend of mine. And, we're taking his 30-year, we're putting his pool loan in there with it, which has got probably double the interest rate that he had on his 30. And we're dropping them below 2% on a 15-year fix.
Amazing.
Wow.
Yeah, and he's so excited about it because he sees he's like, wow, 15 years from now, I'm gonna have no payments.
Right.
This house is all mine.
Did his pay? How much was his difference in his payment though? I mean,
it only went up honestly because we did the numbers. It's hard to do an apple to apple because I'm putting in a pool payment, right?
Right.
The new payment, I think when we comboed it was within $100 because his pool payment was a little high. Like it's a little smoke and mirror on that one. It's like comboing a car loan.
Sure.
But if I were to do, a 30 down to a 15, just mortgage to mortgage, you'll probably see, 20-30% increase in your payment.
Right.
But that's because I'm lowering the rate as well. If you didn't lower the rate, it's a big difference on that payment.
Huge difference. Right. Okay. Wow. So 15 years right now, under 2%.
Yeah. It's amazing. We had a nice, it was, rates are finicky. We had a couple of weeks where they were inching up and this last week was very nice. They started coming down again.
Wow. That's awesome.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, you guys just got to keep getting inventory out there for people to buy so we can have a chance to help them.
Yeah, exactly. And I think, I when I do my stats, I always put what a loan would be at 400,000 based on 3%. So the first time home buyers understand that, that's cheaper than rent.
Yeah.
In most cases. Yeah. And
then you get a VA borrower, so I have a great one right now. This is a wonderful story. They got transferred from Korea to Nellis. Their children did not like the schools around the Nellis district. They have military housing allowance. They got in touch with me. They found a house for $440,000. And I'm able to do a VA loan at 2.25% for them. But they mentioned that, with the move and the new city and kind of starting out here, is there anything that they can do for closing costs? So I was able to put them at 2.75 and contribute $6,800 to their closing costs. So they're going to get every penny of their earnest money back, and they're going to walk into this home for $1.
Wow.
So it's amazing, and the kids are happy, and the parents are happy. And now another little thing I like to do, I'm going to close them on October 1st, which magically makes their payment December 1st. So they're going to have 2 months in that house without really having to write a check and be able to spend it on decorating and furniture. So there's a lot of creativity still out in the lending world that we can do.
Yeah.
And what's the limit for lender contributions?
3%.
3%,
But, you know,
right.
when you have a lender that's not making false buy down, like here's a good example, like when a builder gives incentives, most of those incentives goes toward a loan buy down, you know, which a guy like a wholesale guy won't even need. So I'm normally maybe a point and a half is all I would need, just depending on what part of the year we're with the tax installments. You know, because right now we got to, you know, pay the second installment and fund up that impound account. But if you're buying a home after March, like let's say from March to June out here is a real sweet spot where there's not much on the prepaids. So if you have a lender that doesn't charge, you get in that house for less than a percentage point of the sales price.
Wow. Okay. That's good to know.
Yeah.
March to June, and then probably
March to June is my favorite. That's my power lending period, especially for refinances, because it's very easy for me to keep everything down. I don't want to raise your loan amount. You know, that's not my goal ever. But, you know, a small raise for a huge savings. Let's say if I could raise somebody $2,000, but I'm saving them, you know, $400 a month, that's a no-brainer. You know, you make it up in 5 months. But sometimes I see old closing statements where it's like an 8-year makeup, and that's no good.
No,
and
it's terrible.
Back to the like refi that you treat like a purchase after someone puts 100% down.
Yep, it's called delayed financing.
Right, delayed financing. Now, say if it's like right now with the market moving so quickly, right? Within 2-3 months, I mean, we've seen 10% appreciation. Some of these houses here in Las Vegas. Will they use the new loan amount or
okay? So it's lesser of 2 in the first 6 months, purchase price or appraised value.
Okay.
But you know, most people aren't really worried about it because I'm getting them what they would have got. Let's say if they wanted to go 20% down on that purchase originally, I'm still accomplishing the same thing. But yeah, if there are different guidelines where you can use new appraised value for non-cash outs a little earlier, then, you know, a good rule of thumb is 12 months, you know, to have no problems and use your new value and rip out cash and do what you want. You know, remove mortgage insurance is a real big one. Like right now, you know, anybody in the past year that maybe put down 10%, I could get that mortgage insurance gone easy.
Wow.
You know, maybe even get them back their down payment money.
Yeah. Well, this is the reason. This is one of the many reasons why right now when the real estate market's going to continue to be hot, because with interest rates, you know, this low, I mean, it's pretty much a no-brainer here. I mean,
it is, and you know, and you're also seeing if people have money, the financing doors are just open right now. You know, even on investment, you know, you can use the rent to qualify. You know, let's say you have a self-employed borrower and, you know, confusing returns or writing everything off, but they got $500,000 in the bank, you know, and they want to buy $1 million condo at the Waldorf to rent. They can actually qualify that loan off the projected rent, you know, from all the MLS listings and such. There's a appraisal form called the schedule of rents. And if that is higher than the proposed mortgage payment, bingo, they qualify. You need a nice credit score, but you know the key is having liquid money. And I see Bitcoin stuff coming out. Like I don't want to mention it because I'm not confident on how they're approaching it, but you're going to see lenders starting to let people use their crypto accounts as reserves, as down payments. I'm reading about it, so don't be surprised if you see that coming out soon with like a lot of, you know, hip hop array stuff and, you know, look at us. This is what we're doing. Trend setting.
and will they allow the scheduled rents just on regular loans on programs where you have a high credit score, but you also have income, you have documentation, and can put 20% down or what on
those loans, it's traditional qualification, but let's say if somebody owns multiple properties, you know, as long as they have an equity position, as long as they have landlord history, I don't have to, you know, make them show all the receipt of the rents and, you have an average, like, if someone's saying they're renting it for 6,000, but everyone else is 3,000, you're going to use the 3,000, whereas when I started doing loans, if I had a lease and I had proof of payment, they took it, so they've tweaked it a little bit, but I think it's for the better because it helps, everyone's kind of on the same scale when they're, have the rental property. But I think rents are really going up too, Ruth, if you could comment on that, which also drives the reason for people to buy. If you could get a rental property 3% interest rate and what your debt service is, you can easy cash flow that right now.
Well, right now, I would tell you that out of the 118 homes that we sell every day, 43 of them are non-owner occupied. So they're investments. Wow. Yeah, that's 30% of the market.
I have a question for you. With this moratorium ending at the end of the month, I saw a stat that said there's 600,000 homes listed across the USA, and 1.8 million homes are in the forbearance still. Do you see an inventory jump possibly coming in October?
Not in Vegas.
Okay.
Yeah, not in Vegas. Nope. We're good.
Yeah.
Because
we can hope, right?
Well, here's what happened, Mark. Back when the foreclosure we had the bust, people bought homes like for 120,000. That was the median price back then after, everything crashed. So people here have equity in their home. And many people, 20% of the homeowners here are free and clear. So we're pretty solid when it comes to that. And we're having like maybe 25 defaults a month.
Oh, great.
Yeah. So our market's pretty solid.
Yeah, I haven't seen mortgage rates. Short. I remember seeing all the boo-boos back in the day when I'd run credits. So it's been a while since I've seen mortgage issues with payment histories and such when I'm doing my loans too.
Yeah, we're probably going to see. I mean, my prediction is that we're probably going to see inventories flush areas where they don't have good economic progress, or the path of progress in those cities are on the trend downwards. Vegas is on the trend upwards right now. I mean, we got so many businesses and services and coming here to Nevada, right? That people are going to hold on to their homes, because right now here in Vegas, you can't find a rental. I mean, ask Ruth right now. I mean,
you can't. No.
Where are they going to go, right? So they're going to pony up the money that they've been saving. It's for the most part. Majority, I feel, of people here in Vegas, especially, benefited from the last 12 months of unemployment and things of that nature. I mean,
yeah.
If you made $15 an hour, right, you actually made more being unemployed this last year.
Yeah.
So yeah, and if you were smart, and I have a feeling that people learned their lesson. They weren't just going out and blowing money on random stuff. I mean, they saved it. I talked to a few people, have a few friends that were in that position, and they were smart with the money, and now they're back at work again. The convention space was a huge, place. I didn't realize convention workers make a lot of money.
Yes, they do.
We're talking over six figures here, and so now that it's back, they banked all that money, and then now they're going back to work. And they're in a better position today than they were, 12 months ago before the pandemic hit. So I don't think it's only going to affect the cities and the areas that, where jobs are leaving that area, and net population losses. So, but we'll see. We'll find out in about 3-4 months. Once we see all the numbers start to come out. But
yeah, and next time we do this, I'll let you know. Let's say in New Orleans area, we don't have, our economy is suffering a little bit because we had postponed all the early season festivals to September and October, and then they just got canceled. So I feel so horrible for a lot of the businesses out there that, hotels, restaurants, you name it, because not only are they struggling with staffing, but they're now getting hit with cancellations from all these they're counting on these months to make money. So it's a totally different scenario than here in Vegas, where we're just looking ahead, and they're still doing music festivals, and they're still doing, things to promote tourism.
Right.
So it is state by state and city by city. And, like, I think you'll see different pockets of economic prosperity and then the opposite too.
Exactly. And even in 2008, even though it was a massive, countrywide, worldwide, for, pandemic or not pandemic, economic collapse during that period of time, but states like Texas, Washington, Colorado, I mean, they saw it like nothing happened to those states.
Add Louisiana to that. That was, we had Katrina, which I don't know if you realize when that hurricane hit New Orleans, it was the anniversary of Katrina, same day.
Yes.
Oh, wow.
It was like scary to think about that. So, but yeah, so we had a recovery out there going on while everybody was going in this, recession, because we already got hit and the money was flowing in and people were building back. And so, yeah, it really does. We have a very we have a city that's flourishing right now. I do agree. We're gaining, and I think Arizona is really benefiting too, from the California exodus. And, you have a state that's got tons of money and people who are cashing out, and we happen to be the recipient. I saw Idaho was also another state that people are, I think it's gone up almost like 80% in certain areas in a year, which
crazy.
And now other people are saying they can't move to where they want to because the prices are just out of control. But money right now is so cheap. What can you do?
What can you do? Oh, good stuff. Good stuff. I'm more excited about Vegas now than even just 2 years ago when we were right before the pandemic. I don't know if you recall, when the stadium was getting built. I mean, but we could have a baseball team here in a few years.
We even have the Fountain Blue getting worked on.
All right. I was just driving down on the strip. I'm like, it is a pretty eyesore. That building's been there for.
I used to own at the Sky, which is right across the street. And that was the reason why, the investment was there, because how great, you walk across the street to this amazing hotel and that hotel never finished. And if that hotel finishes, then the Sky condominiums becomes a real attractive place.
Right. No doubt. So,
and who knows what they're going to build right next to it, where the old Wet and Wild is. There's all those rumors.
That's right. So, Mark, we forgot the company that you work for. And,
I'm with Community Access Lending.
That's right. Okay. So, Mark Kahn with Community Access Lending. Ruth, you want to scroll his contact information for any of our agents out there who are looking for a very seasoned, experienced lender that can do some creative financing and situations with his knowledge of the lending community.
And always the lowest rates.
Always.
Wow. That's my goal.
Give me your phone number, Mark.
702-929-8220.
All righty, we're going to put that on the screen here.
I don't know about you, Ruth, but with Mark just being a pink screen on the show, I mean, it adds a lot of mystery to this guest here.
I'll figure this camera thing out, but I'll be back in Louisiana for the next one, and there's no issues on that camera for sure.
Right.
And of course, right when this thing ends, it's going to start working.
Right. You're gonna pop right on. Right. No, we appreciate you being on, Mark. One last question for you. I mean, what's the spread on the Raiders game right now, and who you betting on?
I'll tell you. I know exactly.
Yeah.
So the Raiders are underdogs.
Right.
In town, you're seeing Ravens -4 or -4.5. So if you wanted the Ravens, you want to find a book where you're going to have a 4. If you like the Raiders, you're going to want a 4.5.
Mm-hmm.
And there's also what's called the money line. So if I just said, I don't care about points, the Raiders are going to win.
Yeah.
I could bet 100 to win probably 175.
Oh, okay. So for the Raiders,
I'm giving away the 4 points, the 4.5 points. Every half point is worth about 10 cents. So 10% of the dollar, so you can increase. And that's another way to, you can win 50-50 if you're betting all underdogs like that and still have a profit. But if you're betting with a point spread, you always have to do 110 or $11 to win 10. And when you're betting like that, you need to win almost 54% to be a winner in the long haul.
Exactly right.
So that's why there's a lot of people who are millionaires betting sports, and there's some that are not, unfortunately.
Most are not.
Because
they don't realize that 10% vig is, kills you.
Mm-hmm.
Right.
That's why I like the contests, because the records don't lie. There's a lot of guys on TV and on these billboards saying that they never lose and give me money and I'll sell you my picks. And it's a whole other part of the game.
Yeah,
no doubt. Yeah.
But so who would you guys think is going to win if you had to say the Ravens are a 4-point favorite? Would you take the Ravens or would you take the Raiders?
I'm taking the Raiders money line.
Okay, there you go.
Wow, Raiders money line. Right. I don't know. It's just
hey, that's their first home game. Are you kidding me?
First home game, Raiders.
There's stats on that.
A packed house.
Yeah, opening a stadium, it's kind of hard to go against that home team. And the Rams are also opening their stadium on, I think it's the Sunday night game.
Oh, wow.
And then I believe I think next week they have the Chargers. I feel so bad for the Chargers. They're like the second fiddle to the Rams in LA now. I still call them San Diego. I don't know when I'm going to stop calling them San Diego.
They're the Clippers, in the 90s to the Lakers, right?
There you go. Perfect example. Perfect example. I forgot about the San Diego Clippers.
Yeah. So, all right, Mark. Appreciate you coming on here. Appreciate all the information on the jumbo loans and just the conventional loans in general. Mark's information is scrolling across the screen here. If you want to get in contact with Mark, he always has the lowest rates. That's what he's saying. So challenge him on that. And
please do. I love to be shopped. Honestly, I think it's very important for a borrower to have a couple proposals. Mm-hmm. I'll add one thing before I go. That's the part of the builder in the new home market that I'm not a fan of, is they push, use our guy or else you're not going to get this home. And that's, it doesn't help anybody except the builder-owned escrow and the builder-owned, mortgage company.
No, for sure. And I can tell you, it's very dangerous when you just use everything from the builder, because they're not representing you necessarily. They're not necessarily on your side. They're on the builder side.
I'm in one right now I'll keep the builder unnamed, but I was really disappointed how they couldn't get the deal done. And I would think that they would do a backflip for me to get this done by their end of their fiscal year, which ends at the end of this month. And I just, I feel like I have purposeful roadblocks in my way that I'll get past, but it could be so much more of a pleasant experience for the borrower, for me, for the sales agent. But that builder mortgage company is making it hard because they did not get the deal.
Yeah, no doubt.
And it's a shame, but that reminds me of, I'm sure you remember, Ruth, when people are camping out back, it reminds me of that again, where it happens.
Right. That's the function of the market right now, because they know they can get another buyer in there right away. But
it's okay. They can find me after they close with the builder, and then we save them their money afterwards.
Right.
It's just a 1-2 punch, right? But no, I appreciate you guys letting me come on and talk, and I'll make sure the camera's working next time so I can be there with you.
Sure. We look forward to that, Mark.
Yeah, I had a special American flag shirt on today for 9/11.
Wow.
So it's disappointing.
Sorry.
Oh well.
All right. Well, take care, everybody.
All right, Mark. Appreciate you coming on. Ruth, what's happening this week in training?
In training, well, we have Monday risk reduction from 10 to 1 for 3 CE credits at 8400 West Sahara, or you can Zoom and you just go to bee.vegas and sign up. And then on Thursday, we're doing social media. And that's LinkedIn and Google. The first thing we knew is we do your Google business page, because you've got to have that. Google is the biggest search engine out there. And then when they find that you have a business page, the next thing you're going to see is your LinkedIn. So we get you all solid on those two fronts. And then and then on Friday, we are having a law class, 3 CE credits, 8400 West Sahara, or you can Zoom. And then on next Wednesday, we're going to do a follow-up on the social media with adding our Facebook strategies and giving you videos and also ads that you don't have to make yourself. We have been running ads consistently for years, and we change them out. We never stop the ad from running. We just change the content as the market changes, and we continue to get viable leads every day. So we know it works, and we're anxious to there's so many new things going on in social media. And of course, those platforms are free, and you have to be there. And Google business page is number one. And if I Google you and you don't have a business page, I don't think you're legitimate.
Absolutely right. And people are looking at the reviews on Google's too.
Yes.
So I mean, if you have reviews on there versus, if Google places two people in the same listing and one has 50, 60 reviews and a Google business page, right? They're going to get the business.
Yeah. So anyway, Monday is risk reduction. You can also use that class for general as well, but it's risk reduction, and Jack Lindbergh teaches it, and he's awesome when it comes to cybersecurity and the hackers and how to stay safe on the internet and on your social media platforms. There's some do's and don'ts. So anyway, lots of the more you learn, the more you earn, and we're here to do that and help everybody move on and move up. So have a nice weekend. Thank you so much for the moment of silence this morning, Max. That was very, very much appreciated.
Yeah, very much. Enjoy the day today and be with your families. Give them a big hug, and we will see. You'll see Ruth on Monday, but we'll see you next Saturday.
All righty. Bye, everybody.